Hey everyone, this is Jojo Gonzalez from The Reset. I'm in the office today, man, chopping up some video. Me and your boy DJ Overdose from Kingdom Business DJs. We actually had a good time to sit down with one of the artists that we absolutely love, man, Lita Rodi. He gave us a sneak preview of his album that's coming up, man. 3 songs that we're going to bring for you today, man. Check out this interview that we did. It's crazy. Give us your feedback. Give us your comments, man. Show us a like. Share this video, man, wherever you can. And we'll just continue just to keep pushing these out, man. God bless.
It's The Reset, your boy DJ Ovadose, along with Jojo Gonzalez. What's going on, Jojo?
Oh man, you already know, man. It's been a good week. I've been looking forward to this interview for a long time. Been listening to a lot of Lita Rodi over my lifetime, and just being a Christian, one thing I always looked for was good Christian music, man. And a lot of it, when I first got saved, dude, was just whack, man. But when I started really digging into H-Town and finding these good people, these good artists, good men of God, preaching on beats, man, Rodi was definitely one of those guys, man. We're in the studio, Rodi. How you doing, little Rodi?
Yo, what's good, man? I'm glad to be in the house. That's what's up. Reset. That's what time it is.
You know, man, it's interesting, Jojo. You're talking about back when you got saved, man. I remember knowing Rodi from back in the day, from when I was on the secular radio side, and Rodi was doing secular music too. And it's just interesting how things kind of turned around and God worked everything to where we ended up, man. There's so much history, right? Like me and Rodi could sit and talk for hours about the history from back in the day when we were both in the secular realm to where, we ended up going to the same church, and Rodi was instrumental when the Lord called me to serve and to surrender my life to him. Me and Rodi broke bread and really had conversations. I reached out to Rodi in a particular time in my life where the Lord was grabbing my attention, man. So yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of history, not only between me and Rodi personally, but our families, the music, and it's just it's great to be working together and to be able to have him on the show, man. Rodi, welcome on the show, man. Thank you for everything.
Yeah,
bro.
man, it's all love, bro. I'm glad that God has been faithful to just make sure that that we stay in tune and interweaved in our lives. You know what I'm saying? Like me having kids, you having kids, and our kids being best friends and stuff like that too. And it's just only God knew, what I'm saying, how it was all gonna work out. Here we are.
Yeah, we had no clue.
And here we are reconnecting again, and it's like a new season. You know what I'm saying? A brand new season.
Right.
Yeah, and I can definitely second that, man. No doubt. Being in the studio the first time Rodi, walked through the door when I met him, when people walk through the studio, man, you can kind of tell. You can tell, man, these people are anointed by God to do what they do, or they're just on their own, doing it on their own strength, their own will. Little Rodi, man, when he walked through the door of the studio, he's one of those guys, man, that you can just tell the Holy Spirit is with this man, and they empowering him, speaking through him to do what he does, man. Preach the gospel wherever he's at, how he does it, how he says it. Every beat, every song, man, has definitely been on point. So I'm definitely looking forward to this new album, man. So I've been a Rodi fan for many years.
Bro, that's the first night that I not only met y'all, but that was the night that I met my wife.
Oh yeah.
And I remember.
Oh yeah.
I remember that night. Okay, a quick side story, man. See, there's so much history here, man. But I remember that night, Johnny Wayne and Lita Rodi ended up showing up at my house, and Rodi was like mesmerized, like, man, I met this girl, and you could just see it in his eyes, man. And now, they're married, they have children. It's just, like I said, we could sit here and talk for hours about a whole bunch of stuff, man. But since we're talking about that night, man, I vividly remember that night. We had pizza that night here at my house.
Hey, yeah, man, bro. I got a lot of history, man. So I've been looking forward to it. Once you're telling about having me on the show, it's something I've been looking forward to, and it's a blessing, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, let's get into the music, man. And again, like what I tell a lot of the artists, man, is, yeah, music is what we're doing, but it doesn't supersede ministry. It doesn't supersede our families. It doesn't supersede our walks. And that's one thing that's got to be at the very top. It's our walk with God, our families, and then ministry, you know, and the music. So, but music is a big part of the outreach that we do. It's the vehicle that we use to reach people that are hurting, you know, like we were hurting, like we you know, God reached us through music, and there's a lot of other people, and you know, other people will be reached through different means, but there's a lot of people that will hear the message of the gospel through music. So Jojo, let's get into the music, man. I know we've got some questions lined up for Roddy. And Roddy, if you got any questions for us, man, go ahead and let us know.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. First song we want to cover tonight, man, is Glory. You know, Glory, man, as soon as I hit it, you know, I actually backed it up. Like I heard like the first like 10, 15 seconds, man, you know, through that little hook, you know, through the choir and everything. And then you started hitting it hard. I was like, oh man, that was good. So the beginning, I actually listened to the beginning, man, about 5 or 6 times just in my car, just banging it, bumping it. And definitely one of my favorite songs right now, you know, so definitely one of my favorite songs, hands down. So I love the choir in the background. What is that sample from? Who's that choir, man?
So I do know that like that's one of the tracks that I got from DJ Paint One, and you know, shout outs to him. He's an awesome producer. I've been following him for a couple years. He's got a lot of tracks that are like lease tracks, and that's one of those tracks that, you know, I really wanted to. Once I heard it, it struck a chord with me because of the choir, because of the beat, the relevancy, but also what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Like just giving glory, you know, to God. And so when I heard that, I was like, man, I gotta use this, you know. So I licensed out the track. Originally, it was supposed to be an EP that I was working on, but as I started to progress and write more songs and get into more stuff, it was like it's not gonna be an EP, you know. This is definitely gonna be an album, you know. And I talked to, you know, Vaughn. You know, he reached out to me too and was like, yo, bro, like if you do it, it's like if you come back, you can't come back half stepping. Like you have a certain bar of expectation that you set throughout your career, and people like they want to see a full project if you come back, you know, because it's been a while. It's been almost 10 years, you know. So I was really thinking about it. And I said, man, this whatever track that I select as like the main track for the project really has to be a track that's almost like a reopener, right? Like a reintroduction track. And so pretty much allows me to set the foundation for the long run. And so talking with my wife and getting to, you know, just where we are in our relationship, you know, and making sure that this is the right move, you know, because there's a lot to consider, you know, when you jump into the music industry, and especially if you're gonna hit it hard, there's a lot of things to consider. You know, people want your time, you know what I'm saying? Like time is like a big thing. And I got, you know, we got five kids, 10 ages 10 on down, you know what I'm saying? So it's like time is a very valuable resource, and there's a lot of things that we can do, but it's like it's just crazy how it all kind of worked out, you know. And because of COVID-19, it's not like I'm gonna be doing a bunch of concerts and hitting the road, doing all kinds of stuff. So it's just like the timing's right too. One of the main things was like whatever I put out, I want to make sure that I can focus on the quality, focus on the storytelling, and at the same time, like not have to worry about doing all these shows everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like let's just focus on the content first. Let's just make sure that's right. And so when I heard this track, it was definitely something that grabbed my attention. And so I just started writing to it, man. Actually, I would say the majority of the tracks that I wrote for the project, I wrote during a 2-week span when I was sicker than a big dog, bro. I was sick, man, and this was back in like before COVID. And so me and my wife, we were thinking about it because we all got sick for like 2 weeks, bro. And I was just like going hard in the studio, just writing and writing and writing all these songs back to back to back to back while I was sick. And it was for like 2 weeks, man, and pretty much knocked out the majority of the whole project in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
But yeah, that was definitely the type of song that was the ignite, like the ignition, right? The spark, like it ignited something in me to really just say, you know what, like you got to tell your story, man. And that's why the first bar is when I say you unashamed when you escape the flames. You know what I'm saying? On Hell's Highway, but I'm switching lanes. And it just I had to remind myself, like, I was able to escape the flames in a way. And so what type of, like, how does that make you feel? You know what I'm saying? What kind of story you should be, that should give you something to go based on, right? So I just decided, man, I just need to be unashamed again about my story and get out there and try to help as many people as I can with my music. So, but yeah, that song right there was like the forerunner for like the whole. Once I heard that, I was like, yeah, this got to be the one. And I showed it to Vaughn, and Vaughn was just like, bro, like this is it. You know what I'm saying? This is the track that needs to be the theme track, for the project.
Yeah, good
Well,
call. Good call, though.
let's get into it, man. Let's check it out real quick. Yeah, man, that was Glory. That's a jam, man. Everything about it is dope. It's just real deep,
Yeah, man, I definitely agree. For those of us that have been saved for a long time, saved and serving for a long time, it is hard. Sometimes when we come against these things in our life, man, we're just like, yeah, I can relate with that. Yeah, Lord, just take me now. You know what I mean? This is so much, there's so much going on in my life. And just like you're saying, man, you were sick. And some people may miss that in that first verse, man, but it gives God glory. Just like Paul said, just like Jesus said, just like Peter said, First Timothy, man, we gives God glory, man. We push through, we fight the good fight, even though, man, we're down, and we run the good race, even though sometimes it may be hard, man, and we're struggling. So I could definitely see that in that first verse, man. Very uplifting, Roddy.
Yeah, and it's hard, man. I think, just to kind of, share a little bit of on that. It's like I was been there, man, where me and my wife were talking about the other day. Like we as Christians, we use these terms like saved, right? And the Bible talks about and being saved, right? And so sometimes we get caught up in just the saved part, and we're not even in heaven yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like there's still a process, bro. There's still a process that we got to go through here on earth. But the good news is, if we kind of skip up, it's just like, as a Christian, this is the only hell you will ever see. You know what I'm saying? This earth. As somebody who's not saved, this is the closest thing to heaven you will ever see.
Right.
And so, looking at that, it's like, bro, we gotta, you know what I'm saying? We gotta walk through this life, going through hell sometimes, but we do that with Christ. You know what I'm saying? He does that walking with us. And this song, Glory, man, I kind of talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I can't believe my brother's gone. I can't believe all my homeboys. Not all of them. I got a lot of people that are either dead or in prison. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy, bro. The amount of stress that we can go through and stuff in this life. But through it all, like, don't give up. You know what I'm saying? Don't give up. Just keep on pressing forward and just keep on giving God the glory, man, because He gets the glory in our pain and in our suffering and also in our joy. You know what I mean? So it's not gonna look pretty. It's not gonna look pretty, man. It's not gonna look beautiful. Sometimes, sometimes it gets darker than the darkest night. But
man,
we're able to go through that with Christ. You know what I'm saying?
Man. And that's why I like the second verse, man. The second verse is amazing. It talks about people and where they could be. I mean, they battling depression, suicide. You bring up those things, man, which are really raw. And it's things that anxiety, that people, Christians, we deal with all the time, man, as men, even us, man, that believe we serve, man, we struggle through, and you saw everybody, man, from Abraham to David, Paul, Jesus, they agonized about the work. They agonized about where they were in their life and in their walk. And you're right, man, we're not separated from this earth yet. We ain't home yet. The race ain't done yet. So I definitely like that second verse, man. Your lyrics, they're reaching out to people that are struggling, and at the same time, it's almost like you're praying for those people that are struggling, man. So it's a good set right there.
Yeah. Second verse, talk about this generation. While I'm traveling on this pilgrimage, this pilgrimage, this journey that I'm on, I'm praying that you would heal these kids. Suicide and masses, depression and mass confusion. The outside looks fine, but inside mass contusions. Better yet, they're bleeding out. I'm applying tourniquets, pleading out for wisdom while I'm plugging with a burner head. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all practical and real life. And anybody that's in the medical field, would understand what I'm saying. It's like, man, when you're in the middle of the battle and there's shots flying and somebody gets hit and you care about that person, you're gonna administer first aid and put their life before yours. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm here to administer first aid in the line of fire. And whether you have the knowledge or not, you know what I'm saying? Like the thing is that what your duty is your duty. You know what I'm saying? You know what your call is. And there's gonna be times where you gotta put yourself second and say, you know what, like
Yeah, man.
this is bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? This is bigger than
Yeah.
me. Like
Oh yeah.
somebody else needs to hear this. And a lot of times we get caught up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like even me, you know, like everybody, like we can be all about our family and our dreams and our goals and our finances and our stuff. But there comes a time where you got to kind of get out of that rut. You know what I'm saying? That can become a rut and you're stuck in. It's like, okay, well, you and your family are fine. You know what I'm saying? But what about your calling for other people's families? You know what I'm saying? What
Right.
about your calling to help administer first aid on the front lines? And that's where I'm not saying it's a bad thing to focus on that, because I stepped away from the music for a while. Overdose, you stepped away from the music for a while. JoJo, you know what I'm saying? Like at some point we all stepped away from this thing and just said, okay, you know, let's focus on some other priorities. But there also comes a time when it's like, man, like there's people out there that can only be reached, that God has for us to reach them. You know what I'm saying? For Dose
Yeah,
Right.
to reach, for what I do to reach him, for what JoJo does to reach him, you know? So there's a lot of that kind of went on in writing that verse, where it's just like, you know what? I'm going to step out of my comfort zone again to administer first aid on the front lines. You know what I mean?
Amen,
So
man. That's
awesome.
awesome, bro. That's
talk.
awesome. So, Roddy, with this song, man, you're saying so much in it. Who's the target? Who are you trying to reach? What's the goal? And I know we're cover a wide blanket, right? But if you had to pick, this is who I would like to target with this song. Who would that be? What message? What are your hopes in reaching? What type of people?
Man, I think um, the main people group that I'm trying to reach, not just with this song, but with the overall project, is first of all the lost, but to a degree, you know what I'm saying? Those that are lost, and that when I say that, I mean like that don't know Christ intimately, have a relationship with him. But I'm also trying to target the people who have made the decision and have made a conscious decision and have experienced Christ's rebirth, but they're still going through life with trials and pain and hurt. And so a lot of times as Christian artists, you know what I'm saying, like we get caught up. I think sometimes we can get hung up on the like every song needs to be about just trying to win people or preaching Jesus. But at the same time, it's like Christ spoke in parables, you know what I'm saying, to a lot of the lost, and he shared stories of pain and of hurt, real things that people could relate to. And that's what this song was about, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna give God glory um in the midst of my trials, in the midst of my pain, in the midst of my hurt. And at the end of the day, man, like that's really what I think the approach is, and it needs to be focused on for this project for sure. Um, this song right here is really about that, like trying to reach those that I would say more or less that they have a knowledge of Christ. They have this, they could easily have been on the other side, but it doesn't get easier. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't, if anything, it gets harder. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta look back at the darkness of where I was at in order to really appreciate the light. And that's kind of what I'm doing with this track, because I could easily be in jail. Um, actually, I'm probably gonna open up a lot more about this now in this season of life that I'm in. But I've actually had more trouble with the law and been locked up more times after I was saved. You know what I'm saying? Like than I was before I was saved. I still make bad choices. I can still make bad decisions even today that would cost me to go get locked up again. You know what I'm saying? And so I got to sit there and have that conversation with my son, have that conversation with my daughter, have that conversation with them, why daddy's in jail. And so it's just the reality of it, bro. Like, I think sometimes people put up a mask too much in church. They get so focused on the presentation of what Christianity is supposed to look like, instead of just being real, man. Like just it ain't all good right now. You know what I'm saying? How you doing? Oh, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying that, like be truthful about it. Like, man, I'm not good right now. You know what I'm saying? Like me and wife are going through some things, but that involves time. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's, not everybody wants to hear all that. You know what I'm saying? They just want to get a simple "I'm good, hi, bye." You know what I'm saying? But this is a relationship thing, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's a real relationship thing, bro. So it's like, I'm not saying it's all doom and gloom either. There comes a time where you got to make it out. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're just choosing to stay in the rut. But this song shows that. This song is like, look, this is where I was at, this is where I could be at, and this is what Christ brought me through, this is where I'm going. But it's also a glimpse of like what it's like to be in the midst of the storm. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's if anything, is that's kind of what this whole project really is about. You know what I'm saying? Like giving God glory through the middle of the storm, through the middle of your trials, through the middle of your pain.
No, that's good, man. And we can definitely see that. A lot of people, like a lot of their energy is focused on how managing how other people see their lives. So we need guys, to come out and just say, hey man, this is what real life is about. Sometimes, man, it's anxiety, sometimes it's depression, sometimes it's that stress, as us as men, but also our children, and that next generation. You know, dude, right now a lot of these kids, man, are suffering alone, anxiety, depression, those questions, those doubts, all the way to the point, man, it's like, man, you know what? He was fine. It's like, hey brother, how you doing? Oh, I'm fine. Man, he was just fine yesterday. And then the next day, man, he's eating a bullet, and you just kind of hiding that on the inside, so songs like Glory, man, you're able to like take those emotions and feelings and share them with one another, man, share those burdens with each other. Some of the things that we go through, it's not just for us, man, it's for other people around us. So we got to be open, to share those things, man. So I really appreciate about that song. My kids need to hear that, man. The men that I mentor, the young men that I'm mentoring, they need to hear that, that strong soldiers, man, in the Lord, putting it down, going out, serving the Lord, man. We all go through these things. So I can definitely say, man, you're on the right track, man. God's definitely speaking, to
And
you, through
if I
you.
may with that, and if I don't mean to cut you off on that, but like if I may, a lot of times, even like when you are forerunner, right? When you are serving and you're just so zealous and you have all this, like, especially like when you first come to Christ, you know what I'm saying? That's people, it's like getting married and you're on the honeymoon stage and you're on this honeymoon stage. So you're just all in love with God, all in love with Christ, and it shines, you know what I'm saying? But after time, you keep on going, you keep on fighting, like your energy will get expensed, you know what I'm saying? And you'll be that soldier who gets tired, you know what I'm saying, who gets weary. Anybody, like I say, goes back to the first responder, you know what I'm saying, police officers, firefighters, like anybody knows that when you're out there, man, it takes time, it takes energy, day after day after day after day, and you need to have that, like, that family, that bond with other Christians, um, relationships, so that they can lift you up when you're down, and then when they're down, you lift them up and encourage them, because it's easy. This is a real battle, bro. So it's like it's easy to sometimes get focused on, man, like these bullets are flying, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's getting hit, and so the imagery is like a battlefield. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're not gonna be Rambo mode 100% of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like there's gonna come a time where you're tired, you're hurt. A lot of backstabbing goes on, a lot of cutthroat things go on inside. I remember when I first came in, I thought that everything was just, you know, totally different on the Christian side, especially with the music industry. And I realized, like, man, bro, it's cutthroat. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of, like almost sometimes like, dang, it's worse on this side. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like everybody says that they love you and everybody says that they're in it for Jesus and for God, but then you find out that it's cutthroat. You know what I'm saying? Like people are fake. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of fraud people out there. And it's not. It doesn't. It's kind of bad because it's like it doesn't make necessarily them look bad. Like people take that as like it makes Christianity look bad.
Yeah,
And it's like
definitely.
God didn't have nothing to do with that person making a selfish decision. You know what I'm saying? Like they made that selfish decision, but it reflects negatively towards Christianity. Same way with the police department. You know what I'm saying? Like not all cops are bad cops, but at the end of the day, I have a responsibility, you know what I'm saying, as an artist and as a minister of the gospel, to say like, well, I'm gonna do my best, I'm gonna do my part, you know what I'm saying, to like throw it out there and in the right way. But also the way I do it isn't the way that you would do it, you know what I'm saying, or the next man. I get a lot of people that are like, on one of the songs that did not make the album, I really liked it, but I really wanted every song to be a banger. But it was like on one of those verses, it's like pretty much I'm saying like, oh well, what he's doing doesn't sound so contemporary. You know what I'm saying? It's not contemporary Christian. Like, okay, well, kick your feet up since you're living life so well. I teach him to hate sin. You loving them straight to hell. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everybody has their own way to do it, and not saying one way is all the way right and the other way is all the way wrong, but it's just like, man, stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying?
That's
God
exactly,
gave you,
yeah.
stay in your lane, bro. You know what I'm
That,
saying?
that's exactly what it is. It's lanes. You know, everybody has different lanes. Everybody has different struggles, right? I struggle with something that you may not struggle with, Roddy. I struggle with something that JoJo may not struggle with, right? So we all have different experiences, man. And one of the things that I think is key is being transparent and talking about those things that you can talk about, you know, because other people will see this Christian walk is not all pretty, you know. We are going to struggle because when that new believer comes to Christ, and if he's not being discipled, and if nobody's building a relationship with him or her, and they think, oh man, now I'm going through this. I thought everything was supposed to be beautiful when I came to Christ. You know, I thought everything was supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be a smooth road. And then they start hitting those potholes and those bumps. If they don't have somebody discipling them, if they don't have somebody riding with them and really guiding them through it, you know, I think it takes people being vulnerable. You know, everybody now has a platform. You can talk about your experiences, and you can share your experiences and your struggles, you know. And that's one of the things that I'm working on more now is being more open and more vulnerable with things that I struggle with, in hopes of helping others, because other people, and that's my lane. Your lane is going to look different than my lane, and JoJo's lane is going to look different. So you're absolutely right, man. It's everybody has their own lane and everybody does it differently. But you touched on that a little bit, and vulnerability, man, I think is key. Two things: vulnerability and empathy. You know, those are the two things that
Yeah.
are going to help. And like I said it before, man, God doesn't need me to preach the gospel. He doesn't need anybody. He doesn't need a rapper. He doesn't need a DJ. He doesn't need anybody. But as we're being used, we have to be responsible.
Yeah.
We have to responsibly share the message, and genuinely be there for others, man. Yeah.
Yep. Real talk.